Hi aquaponics enthusiasts. In today's video we're going to talk about zucchini in aquaponics, and we're going to see how to have some nice fruits and how to avoid mineral deficiency on the leaves of your zucchini. So welcome aquaponics enthusiasts. In today's video, this video basically is an update on another video. I made a previous video to show you how to grow zucchini in aquaponics, and in this previous video I already explained you that zucchini were plants that need a lot of nutrients, a diversity of nutrients, so you can't really grow those plants in a new aquaponic system. You will be able to, but you may find some deficiencies, so that's why I don't recommend it. I recommend growing those plants on aquaponic systems that are fully developed, so after 6 months or 1 year. After that, you have a lot of organic matters into your grow bed, in your media, and the bacteria are doing a lot of work to transform those in nutrients for your plants. Therefore, at this stage you can add some plants that need a lot of nitrogen, but also a lot of other nutrients. And in those nutrients we have obviously nutrients that are available from organic matter that is breaking down, but they also need a lot of minerals. And yes, you have minerals from the fish food you give to your fish, but you probably know that in aquaponics we sometimes have some deficiencies in minerals. I made some videos on this topic and I recommend you to have a look at those videos. But briefly, the explanation is that in a garden, in a classic garden, you have some insects, some worms that are going deep into the soil, and they raise the earth from down. And when they raise this earth inside, you got some minerals, minerals that are coming from the rocks that are in the soil. While in aquaponics we are in a grow bed, and the only media we have is, you have different types of media depending on what you choose, but most of the time we choose volcanic rock here because it's very cheap. You can also work with clay balls. There are different options, but the bottom line is that you don't have a full blend of minerals that are available for your plant. So that's why we need to add some minerals powders to our aquaponic system. And that's what I do quite frequently when I see some deficiencies on the plant, or when I suspect that the system needs more minerals. But when you grow zucchini or when you grow fruit plants, you need to add a bit more minerals, obviously, because they consume a lot, because they produce a lot. So that's what we are going to do together today. We're going to have a look at what's happening on my zucchini. Here I am growing a few zucchinis, and I can really see some deficiencies on the leaves. And that's very interesting because I can't see those deficiencies on the zucchini that I am planting in the classic garden. So a few weeks ago I released a video about the difference or the comparison of growth between a classic garden and an aquaponic system. And in the aquaponic system everything is growing so much quicker. And the zucchini as well, I got already a lot of fruits here. While in the classic garden I don't have any fruit, I just have one flower at the moment. So the classic garden is far behind, but here it grows much faster, but it needs also much more nutrients and much more minerals. So we're going to compare the leaves, the color of the leaves between this aquaponic system and the classic garden. We're going to see that in the classic garden it has a small growth, but at least all the minerals are present and it grows slowly. Also, another thing that we can find, we can see is that in the aquaponic system the plants are growing so fast that you can see some area on the greens that are lighter, while in a classic garden where it grows slowly you don't see this. So this is not to identify as a mineral deficiency. This is different. It's just because there was a fast growth. You sometimes have this on the classic garden as well. So it's not a problem. The problem is really from the mineral deficiency that we can see in some leaves that I just showed you. So let's have a look at this now. So here we have a very interesting zucchini plant. So there is one here and another one on the side. So as I said on my previous video that I recommend you to see, is that those type of plants, we grow them on the side of the grow bed. You see I got my grow bed here and I grow them on the side so that they don't cover the whole grow bed, and the tendency is that generally the plant is falling off the grow bed after a while. You see, it's going away from the grow bed. So it's very good because all those leaves here, if they are on top of the grow bed, they're gonna hide the other plants from all the light, all the sunlight. And the sunlight obviously is very important for the growth of the plants. So the idea is to have them to grow on the side and to fall down. You see even the fruits are falling down the grow beds. So that it doesn't take space and it doesn't take the light away from the other plants. So that's very important when you grow this type of plants, but that's something I really highlighted in my previous video. But today what I want to show you is this basically. I don't know if you can really see here. You see the color of those leaves? So that's old leaves, right? The old leaves, you can see some deficiencies. So you see all those dots here, there. So those dots, they are mineral deficiencies. And so then it's very hard to tell exactly what type of mineral deficiency it is. And you are really welcome to give me your feedback in the comments. But the fact is, we have some deficiencies, and obviously I can grow a lot of fruits like this. The plant is going to produce. It's not going to stop the plant from producing, but anyway, it highlights that there are some deficiencies. And so if I want to have a nice aquaponic system and fulfill all the needs of my plants, it's much better to feed the plant with proper minerals. So this one you see has been attacked by some insects, some caterpillars. So it's not really an issue. The caterpillars, for me, you know, I'm happy to share a bit of the crop. It's not a big problem, but the problem is more to see those dots here on the end of my thumb here. I don't know if we can see well on the video. What I'm showing is basically those dots that we see everywhere on the old leaves. Well, if you look at the new leaf is really nice. There are no problem on the new ones. You see when they are still relatively young, it's okay. But the old ones, well, normally in a classic garden anyway, the old ones, they're going to die as well. But there is a difference between a leaf dying and a leaf becoming picked with this type of colors. Because here, that's a mineral deficiency. Please don't make the mistake to take this. You see this coloration here on the leaf? That's different. That's because the plant grew faster than it should. I mean that it should, not that it should, but it grew fast because there was a lot of nutrients in the water. So here you see this plant doesn't show any mineral deficiency, but it is a bit lighter in some area because it grew very fast. I'm going to show you in the classic garden where everything is growing way slower, but we don't have mineral deficiencies. However, we have the same type of color when the leaves are growing fast. So this one is a different plant. I guess that's a pumpkin. And as you see the same type of marks because it grew quite fast. This one grew quite fast. On the previous ones, you see also that's an old leaf, so it's not looking the best. I got some older ones maybe here, yeah. So you see the older leaves, they are looking not as bad as the one on my aquaponic system. I may have a bit of deficiency, but nothing really bad. But the one in the aquaponic system, we see some marks, which means that they need more nutrient. So this one is not zucchini, but the zucchini I planted in the same time as the same in my aquaponic system are those ones. And here you see we have a nice green, but unfortunately the plants are extremely small. There is another one aside with one flower, and actually that's a male flower, but you see there is no fruit. It's they have been planted exactly the same day, but they are not producing yet because here they are in the garden, so they don't grow as fast as in the aquaponics system, and also the sun exposition is unfortunately not the same. So that's explained the growth difference. But here what is interesting is that the plants or the leaves are green, they are nice green. So that's what we want, and that's what we want in the aquaponics system as well. So what we're going to do here, we're going to add some minerals, and I'm going to add some iron as well, minerals and iron, and we're going to have a look in a few weeks if we can see a significant difference. So I will add some mineral powder. So this is just rock dust. It's quite difficult to determine exactly the quantity that you need. So I recommend to add a small quantity at the beginning, and later on if you see a nice recovery, then that's okay. If you don't see recovery, you can add a bit more. But it's always tricky to really determine the exact quantity needed. So the farmer generally put around between 2 to 50 grams per square meter. So it's very wide. It's open to trials basically. So here I have approximately 2 square meters of grow bed, and I have less than 1,000 liters of water. So I'm gonna add something around 15 grams for the whole system, and it's gonna be fine. And then I'm gonna add some minerals powder as well. DTPA chelated iron, that's what I always recommend you to add to your system. Don't put any chelated iron, right? It has to be the specific DTPA chelated iron, otherwise some other type of chelated iron are toxic. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I made videos about adding minerals into your aquaponics system, but that's very crucial. If you don't add minerals to your aquaponics system at the beginning, aquaponics is going to work well, but in a few months the minerals are going to be less abundant in the aquaponics system. The plants are going to consume them, and then it's going to be very difficult to produce anything in your aquaponics system. So again, mineral powders, chelated iron, DTPA. Chelated iron is around 2 grams per, 2 milligrams per liter, so 2 grams per 1,000 liters. But generally it's not pure. The chelated iron is around 11% iron, the rest is the chelated molecule, which means that you will need to add not 10 times more, but almost something like 18 grams of chelated iron in your aquaponics system. So that's what I'm going to do right now. And after that, hopefully the plants are going to be better. So it's going to take a while for the plant to grow new leaves and to see a difference. But it's going to make a difference to the aquaponics system and to all the plants. They're going to find exactly the minerals that they need. So this is rock dust again, and rock dust is a blend of minerals that are crushed. And when they are crushed, obviously they are into a powder, crushed into a powder. And this powder then is becoming available for the plants because you put it into the water. I generally put it into the bell siphon because there is a big mix, and it's mixed into the water. So then the oligo elements, the small particle of minerals, are going to be spread on all the grow beds and all around the plants. So let's do this right now. In order to do that, I use just a normal bottle where I put some water and I put the minerals and I shake it. Then I can put it into the bell siphon. So I have a first mix. Obviously, you got the possibility to add the minerals directly into your bell siphon, but it's going to take a bit more time for them to be mixed properly. I shake the bottle, and now I'm going to lift the lid of the bell siphon, and I'm going to throw those minerals inside. And as you understand, with the flush of the bell siphon, it's going to mix them even better. It's going to finish in the fish tank, and then they're going to be soaked by the pump in very, very fine elements into the water. They're going to create molecules into the water, and they're going to be available by all the plants, which is great. This is exactly what we want. Normally at the end of the bottle, you always got some minerals that are remaining. So you can rinse it once and put the rest back into the bell siphon. And then I definitely rinse the rest into the fish tank. One is done, that's the minerals. And as I said, I'm also going to add some chelated iron. So here we are with some chelated iron, so I'm going to try to show you what it looks like in the camera. It's not very easy to have a good focus on this. I hope it's going to work. Okay, I hope you can see this chelated iron here. I don't want to throw it, it's quite expensive. I don't want it to fall on the floor. But this powder here is massively important. If you don't have chelated iron, unfortunately, iron is one of those elements. As you know, you probably experienced it, when you have iron, water and oxygen, it turns into rust. And something typical that we always experience in our day-to-day life. And this iron here doesn't turn into rust when you put it in the aquaponics system because it's chelated, so it's protected by another molecule. And therefore it stays available, it remains available for the plants for a long time. So same thing, I put the lid on and I shake it. Sometimes I don't put the iron in the same time as the minerals. If you can allow, it's better, but today I'm going to put them the same day. Why I don't put them together is because basically the high pH of the minerals can affect the iron a bit quicker. But in this case, honestly, when you have some deficiencies, you want to act quickly, you don't really mind about that. But if you have the possibility, it's better to do minerals one day, and then after maybe 10 days, you do the chelated iron. Up, I added the chelated iron. And this is perfect. Okay, I added the minerals. Now it's good, the plants have all what they need, so we'll see with time if they recover. So it's now been a week since I added some minerals in my aquaponics system, and we can have a look at the zucchini now. The only thing is that, unfortunately, as last time I added the minerals, it's been a week that we had cold weather, and that's basically now the end of summer. I mean, autumn is really kicking, and we are going towards winter. So the zucchini didn't grow much like the plant by itself. So I can't show you a big evolution, but at least it grew some nice fruits. The plant still producing some little leaves, but it didn't produce a crazy quantity of leaves. So let's have a look closer. Here we can see the fruits hanging. So it produced some really nice fruits. And it's not finished, but I have to say that now with the cold weather, obviously it's not producing as quickly. So what I did last time, as I added the minerals in the system, I also removed the old leaves that were completely inefficient. And you can see that the new ones, they have a nice green. So we still have the growth, you know, the little white that we have on all the plants, even in the classic garden. So not an issue, but we don't have the same deficiencies marks as we had before, even on the big leaves. You see even this one, quite big leaf, and well, we may have some tips, but nothing to do with what we had before. So I really reckon that this mineral boost that I gave to my plants really helped to decrease the mineral deficiency, so that's really good. And I have a little crop, so I'm going to harvest those plants quite soon. You see this one produced a bit more. You see the size of the zucchini is really nice. And anyway, it's going to continue producing, obviously. But yeah, we are going towards the end of the season, so I don't expect to have kilos and kilos of zucchini left to grow, but I guess we're going to still have a few more. Those plants, the zucchini, they are very productive. In aquaponics, you can produce several kilos per plant. Probably 4 kilos is definitely achievable by a plant in aquaponics if you plant it at the good season, at the start of the season. As you know, I moved my aquaponics system recently, so I just replanted for the end of the season, so I grow what I can, but I still have a very nice production from this food here, and hopefully it will produce more again. Some technical facts about zucchini. So those type of plants, they prefer a pH slightly acidic, around 6.2. 6.2 is basically the optimum. You know, that's the best pH for this plant, and that's what you will aim if you grow it in hydroponics, for instance. In hydroponics, you know that we put the best parameters in place to fulfill the need of one crop. But here we are working in aquaponics, and in aquaponics we work with a whole ecosystem. So obviously we got those plants, but we also got some fish. And obviously all the plants, they have different requirements. Most of them like a pH around 7, sometimes a bit acidic. Some plants may like a pH a bit higher than 7. So this one like a pH slightly acidic, below 7. But we got fish, we got the other plants. So in aquaponics we aim, that's just a reminder, we aim for a pH around 7. So basically that's a good compromise for all the crops that we have in our system. In a pH around 7, the zucchini, they will grow really well. That's not an issue. 6.2 is the optimum, but they accept a large range of pH. 7 is perfect for them. They will grow without any issue. So you can target 7 for your aquaponics system, and this plant will produce really well. Now, in terms of nitrogen requirement, as you can guess, this plant is producing a lot, right? One foot of plant, one plant, can produce several kilos of zucchini, which means that they can produce it in a very short time, which means that they need a lot of energy, and so they need a lot of nitrogen. So they consume all this nitrogen. So if you have a new system, I would really recommend to not grow it, because they will probably not find the nitrogen necessary and also all the different minerals that are necessary. But if you have a system that is well established, then it's good. You know, if you are at 50 ppm or above of nitrogen in your system, that's great. You know that in aquaponics, we aim to keep the nitrogen, or I'm talking about nitrate, quite low for our fish. You know, ammonia and nitrate are very toxic for the fish, but nitrates, they are less toxic, but if they are at high concentration, they can start to be stressful for the fish. So we try to maintain it below 50, and above 50, you know, the fish can sometimes, very often, handle it for a while, but after a long period of time, it starts to be stressful for them. That's why I recommend to stay below 50. 50, you will grow it well. You know, you will grow this plant really well at 50 ppm of nitrate. That's not an issue. If you are in hydroponics, obviously you will aim way higher. You will probably aim around 100 ppm, but 50 ppm will be fine. But where I really recommend this plant is if you are like me, you have a setup with a lot of fish, with a media that is already full of organic matters, like a system that has been running for years. And if your plant can't keep up with all the nitrogen that you are producing. So what I have to do in my setup, I sometimes use some water to water my plant from the classic garden. In this case, the classic garden is able to be boosted because I give all the nitrogen, all the nitrate that is in the aquaponics system to the plant of my classic garden. So that's a way of basically mixing different techniques. But it also helped me to add new water in the system and to keep the nitrate relatively low. But adding those plants here, they will pump all this excess nitrates and they will transform it into zucchini. So I really recommend this plant if you have a system like me where the nitrate level is always a bit high. In this case, they're the perfect plant because it will suck this nitrate and it will transform it into succulent or delicious crop, fruits that you can cook and consume. And finally, there is one thing that you really need to know with zucchini, and it's the same for a lot of other plants, but the fruits can get some fungus, and you have this as well with tomatoes, with other plants. The idea is that the fungus, they can grow on the fruit, and then they will attack the fruit and they will make it soggy, and they're not that good to eat. So you want to avoid, obviously, to have those fungus to grow on your zucchini. And the fungus, they like to have an environment that is wet. And because we are in aquaponics, we have to be very careful to those fungus. So the best way to avoid fungus is not to put any pesticide in the system, right? Forget completely to put in any pesticide. I always say it, and I'm going to say it again. Never put any pesticide in the system, because you're going to affect the whole ecosystem and the whole biodiversity that is already installed in your aquaponics system and what is basically making the balance of the ecosystem. So don't put any pesticide. If you have fungus, the idea is to work before and to avoid, to give good conditions for the fungus. So as I said, the fungus are like water. We are in aquaponics and we are in a moist environment. But what I recommend, and I said it already plenty of times on my videos about media, and I recommend you to have a look at those videos, the top of your grow beds, the media that is on the surface, needs to be dry. You need to have 3 centimeters on the top that are dry. If it's dry, the fungus are not going to develop. Or they may come, but they are not going to spread that much. You may have some, like in a classic garden, you are never sure to not have any fungus. But for sure, if the top of your media is completely wet, that's a mistake that I see very often in beginners' aquaponics system. If it's wet, the fungus is going to spread very quickly and it's going to affect all your crop. So for this specific type of crop, you want the fungus you want the top of the media to be dry. That's very important. So I think this video is quite clear. It shows you the impact of adding minerals in your aquaponics system, the need of minerals, but also once you add minerals, there's a difference that you have in the leaves and in the growth of your plants. If you are new to aquaponics and if you haven't started yet, I recommend you to have access to the 6-step training that is free and available on the description of the video just below, or in the information on the corner of the video somewhere. In this training, I showed you a few steps to help you to build some knowledge, to build your own aquaponics system and to manage it in the best way possible. If you haven't done it yet, I recommend you to subscribe to the channel, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. I see you in the next video. Bye bye. Don't forget to get your free gift from this screen. You can also leave me a comment below the video, subscribe to the channel and see my last video. I really hope to see you soon, and I wish you a fantastic success with aquaponics. Have a good crop.